Something has gone terribly wrong at the World Cup, and everyone can feel it. Not in whispers, not behind closed doors, but right there in the hours before one of the tournament's biggest knockout matches. A decision was made, then unmade, then rewritten, in a way that left players stunned, officials scrambling, and an entire nation asking the same question: what exactly is FIFA doing? Because this was never supposed to happen. Automatic suspensions are automatic for a reason. Rules are rules until suddenly, somehow, they are not. Stay with us, because this story is not just about one striker, one card, or one match. It is about power. It is about timing. It is about whether the biggest governing body in football can bend its own laws at the exact moment those laws become inconvenient. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why Belgium's fury exploded, why legal action became more than a threat, and why millions of fans around the world started wondering whether the World Cup was being decided on the pitch or in the shadows around it. If you care about football when the stakes are highest, subscribe now, because what happened next turned a round of 16 tie into a referendum on the sport itself. Here is the contradiction at the heart of everything. FIFA says the World Cup is ruled by transparent standards that apply equally to every team, every player, every moment. Belgium believed that, the United States believed that too, until the rules suddenly opened a side door. Folarin Balogun, the American striker whose red card should have triggered an automatic suspension, was set to miss the match. That was the expectation inside training camps, inside media rooms, inside betting markets, inside tactical meetings. Then just hours before kickoff, FIFA reversed course, using an obscure disciplinary clause so rarely invoked that even veteran observers had to stop and look it up. Think about that for a moment. A red card is not a gray area. It is one of the clearest punishments in the sport. Players know it, coaches know it, fans know it. And yet, in the space of a few frantic hours, certainty gave way to confusion. Reports spread that the United States Federation had appealed. Then came the explanation from inside FIFA's disciplinary structure. Under a narrowly worded clause, extraordinary review was possible if procedural grounds existed. Procedural grounds. Not innocence. Not mistaken identity. Procedure. Belgium did not see nuance in that language. Belgium saw a loophole, a rescue rope, a miracle, available only when the badge on the chest was powerful enough. The outrage was immediate because the context made it explosive. This was not a group stage dead rubber. This was a round of 16 clash, with everything on the line. The edge between survival and elimination, memory and regret, glory and collapse. Belgium had prepared for one American attack, and now faced another. Defensive meetings, pressing triggers, recovery patterns, late runner coverage, all of it had been shaped by the assumption Balogun would be absent. Suddenly he was back. Suddenly a disciplinary decision had competitive consequences. Suddenly the issue was not only whether FIFA could do this, but whether any team could ever trust the framework surrounding the tournament again. And that is where this story stops being about paperwork and starts becoming personal. Imagine being in the Belgium camp that morning. Imagine analysts who had spent days clipping film, defenders repeating scenarios, coaches drilling shapes, all under one competitive reality. Then the reality shifts. No injury update. No tactical surprise born on the training ground. An administrative reversal. That kind of shock lands differently, because it feels untouchable. You cannot press it, tackle it, or outrun it. You can only live with it. Belgian officials reportedly moved from disbelief to anger to formal protest in a matter of hours, arguing that FIFA had violated the spirit and the letter of its own system. Now pull back further and the picture grows darker. FIFA did not merely make a controversial call. It made a controversial call under maximum scrutiny, in minimum time, on the eve of an elimination match watched by the world. That timing matters. Timing always matters. Because transparency delayed becomes transparency denied. If there was a legitimate basis for overturning the suspension, why was it not explained with total clarity, total speed, total confidence? Why did the ruling arrive like a storm warning, sudden and incomplete? Before we go deeper, if this is the kind of coverage you have been looking for, subscribe and turn on notifications, because the implications stretch far beyond Belgium and the United States. This is where the legal challenge changes everything. Belgium was not simply complaining after the fact. Belgium was asserting that a governing body had interfered with competitive balance by selectively reinterpreting a rule that had long been understood as fixed. That distinction is critical. Teams can accept bad luck. They can accept missed chances, harsh refereeing, even penalties that split opinion. What they cannot easily accept is the idea that the rulebook itself might move beneath their feet. Once that fear enters a tournament, every decision is infected. Every booking becomes political. Every review becomes suspect. Every official statement starts sounding less like clarification and more like damage control. And yet, there was another layer, one that made the backlash even more intense. This was the World Cup. the stage where smaller margins matter more than anywhere else, where one suspension can reshape a bracket, where one selection change can tilt a country's history. Belgium did not see Balogun's reinstatement as an isolated exception. It saw a message. It saw an institution willing to stretch itself when pressure arrived. It saw one standard on paper and another in practice. One standard on paper and another in practice. Sit with that, because those 9 words are the entire scandal condensed into a single accusation that would not go away. Then came the global reaction, and it was brutal. Pundits questioned precedent. Former players questioned fairness. Lawyers questioned process. Fans questioned everything. Social media filled with side-by-side comparisons, old suspensions, old appeals, old cases where no last-minute mercy arrived. People began stacking examples, stacking doubts, stacking memories, until the sense of isolation disappeared and a wider distrust took its place. Because controversies do not live alone. They awaken everything that came before them. Every old grievance returns, every suspicion finds a home, every unresolved question starts echoing again. And once those echoes begin, institutions struggle to sound convincing, even when they are telling the truth. But here is where it changes completely. The match itself, as enormous as it was, became only the surface of the drama. Underneath it sat a deeper trial, a trial of legitimacy. Could FIFA still claim to be neutral when one of its most controversial interventions altered the competitive landscape on the eve of a knockout tie? Could it ask Belgium to trust a process Belgium believed had already failed? Could it ask the world to separate the football from the governance when the governance had just reached onto the field? That is why this story traveled so fast, and why it hit so hard. It was never only about Balogun. It was about who gets the benefit of doubt, and who never does. The bigger picture is uncomfortable, and that is precisely why it matters. Football sells itself as the universal game, a language of fairness, merit, and consequence. 90 minutes. 11 against 11. The better side prevails. But tournaments at this level are never built only on what happens between the lines. They are built on trust in draws, trust in officials, trust in procedure, trust that when punishment is triggered it will be carried through the same way for everyone. Strip away that trust, and the spectacle remains, but the meaning starts to rot. What Belgium challenged was not just a ruling, it was the fragile contract between institutions and the people asked to believe in them. Break that contract once, and every future promise sounds weaker. So when people ask whether this was worth the outrage, remember what was at stake. Not just one striker, not just one knockout game, not just Belgium versus the United States. The real question was whether the laws of football apply equally when the pressure becomes unbearable. Whether fairness survives contact with power. Whether transparency means anything when it arrives late, partial, and wrapped in technical language few people have ever heard before. Maybe FIFA will insist it followed procedure. Maybe Belgium will insist procedure was twisted beyond recognition. Maybe the truth sits somewhere in the collision. But the damage is already done, because doubt has entered the tournament, and doubt changes everything. What do you think? Justice, favoritism, or something in between? Let us know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe for more, and remember, when the rules move, the game still moves with them.